The ISI is suspected of providing covert financial assistance to these groups. Allegations that Islamabad has not publicly responded to. But it does seem like after decades of distancing, Pakistan and Bangladesh are warming up again. This year, the ISI chief, Lieutenant General Asim Malik, visited Dhaka for the first time in decades. Pakistan's foreign minister landed in Dhaka in August this year. That was the first visit by a Pakistani minister after 13 years. Reports claim the ISI is running a cell inside Pakistan's Dhaka mission. Behind-the-scenes talks of a mutual defence pact are also underway. And what's even more shocking is that Pakistan's envoy met with Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus just yesterday. Both sides decided to resume direct Dhaka and Karachi flights. Pakistan's Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir is also expected to visit Bangladesh in January. Then comes the rhetoric. A PMLN leader has threatened India, claiming Pakistan will stand with Bangladesh if India goes to war with them. Is this a coincidence or coordination? What is Pakistan's ISI doing in Bangladesh and what will it mean for India? Let's quickly bring in our guests tonight. All right, I'm joined in by Smriti S. Patnaik, who's a research fellow at the MPIDSA, and also joined in by Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry, who's a Bangladeshi journalist. Many thanks to you both for joining in. Shoaib, I want to also ask you, you've been deeply probing the ISI angle in Bangladesh. As you've always said, that it never began with tanks and fighter jets, it was always with the rhetoric. And we can see that kind of political noise emanating not just in Bangladesh, but also from Pakistan. What do you make of this information warfare at play by the ISI?
Thank you very much, Akanksha. You see, this time what we are witnessing from Bangladesh, that Pakistani ISI and its military establishment, they are using the social media to directly mislead the people of Bangladesh. For example, a few days ago, on a Facebook page, there was a post by so-called D Times. And the D Times, it claimed that we Bangladeshis are considering changing our flag. Then I digged into this information about D Times, and it was found that there is no such existence of anything called D Times on the web. Instead, it's a news, it's just a Facebook page run from Pakistan. I have provided the phone number also in one of my articles.
We are flashing images of that very page that you accessed for the benefit of our viewers. So viewers, what Shoaib is also stating is that there's the number on this particular page which shows the Bangladesh flag merged with the Pakistani flag, and that number comes from Pakistan. Shoaib, please continue.
Yes, and then there was another propaganda immediately after the murder of Osman Hadi. It was another obscure Pakistani website. I never heard of it. Definitely you have never heard of it as well. It says that the killer behind the Osman Hadi is Indian Raw. Clearly it said. Then when we digged into further to this matter, we saw this obscure website has suddenly become extremely active in boosting all the posts on social media, particularly Facebook. And this, the website is based in Lahore, and the owners of this website, only two people, a man and a woman. There is no journalist, nothing. And they are continuously publishing anti-India propaganda on this website, targeting India and Bangladesh. I mean, this is, I have written somewhere that it is run by Pakistani ISI.
Okay. I quickly want to bring in Smriti also on that note. Smriti, what began as a possible thaw between Dhaka and Islamabad after the July uprising soon seems to be turning into a deeper, more coordinated realignment and engagement, as we've seen how after decades the ISI chief, Lieutenant General Asim Malik, visited Bangladesh this year. There are also credible inputs to establish the fact that there is an ISI cell operating out of Pakistan's High Commission in Dhaka. What do you make of these developments, this realignment, and what will this mean for India's Eastern Front?
I would say that this realignment is not surprising at all. It was expected, especially after Hasina's exit, that Pakistan will be active on India's Eastern Front, which it used to be active some time back. prior to Hasina being elected to power in 2008 during the BNP regime. We also know that the kind of activities the ISI was involved in. So therefore, I would say it was not surprising, and it is, as you were saying, the ISI chief visiting Bangladesh. There is this defense cooperation agreement, and of course, currently they are speaking of resuming the flight
Yes.
between
So as
Pakistan and
recently
Bangladesh.
as yesterday, that kind
Yes,
of
yes.
engagement. Also, what's extremely surprising, Smriti, I'm sure you could weigh in on that, that when it's not a mandated government, you are looking at an interim government. Interim governments don't engage so much diplomatically, as we've seen Pakistan reaching out to the interim regime and the interim advisor, Mohammad Yunus himself.
I think the interim regime is operating in an extremely anti-Hasina kind of agenda, and anti-Hasina and anti-India some of the time becomes same. So I am also equally surprised. The mandate of the interim regime should have been to initiate reforms and hold the election and lead. And yet the interim regime is doing all kind of foreign policies, which will become, you are putting a foundation of a foreign policy in a particular direction, which becomes very difficult for a person, the next elected government, to go back unless until there is a deterioration of bilateral relationship. One has seen the demand of changing the national anthem, the Victory Day, which is generally celebrated in Dhaka. For the past 2 years, one doesn't see the celebration of the Victory Day. So, and there are also rhetoric which speaks about the kind of role which Pakistan played in terms of its atrocities. It's not mentioned now. It is much more mentioned about like you cannot give the slogan of Joy Bangla because it is seen as Awami League slogan, not the slogan which inspired many of the people who fought the freedom in 1971. So it's a very different kind of situation which actually has created a kind of ecosystem where Pakistan establishment is not only flourishing, but also at the same time we see the
Okay.
rise of Islamists because of
That's
the ecosystem
interesting
which is
term. I think it's an ecosystem that has been built upon over here. So, Shoaib, who stands to benefit from this ecosystem? Is it Mohammad Yunus or is it the BNP? There seems to be a secret back channel understanding of sorts. Clearly, all of this is going to cast a shadow on the upcoming February elections. Will this also sort of engineer a hung house? What is your expectation at the moment from the upcoming polls? Will they even happen?
Akanksha, as you know that Pakistan's main agenda is to recapture Bangladesh and turn it into East Pakistan. So, if you are asking me who is the beneficiary is Pakistani ISI and Pakistan. In that case, both Yunus, BNP, Jamaat-e-Islami, and all other elements, including the members of our armed forces, they are willingly or unwillingly playing the role of mercenaries of the Pakistani regime, Pakistani establishment. And if you ask me how my army is also involved into the role of mercenary, I will clearly say that when they are understanding that the Pakistan has already launched a full-blown media war against India, signaling the possibility of beginning a war, a physical war very soon, and when my army is silent, when my army is even inviting Pakistan to begin a joint venture project and by undertaking our Bangladesh Ordnance Factory and produce Shaheen 2 prototype missile in Bangladesh. So definitely in our army is also being very much dragged. If not dragged, I should actually use something else, but they are dragged into the trap, and they are also serving the purpose of Pakistan. And they understand that they are possibly serving the purpose of China or any other element that is not India. They are holding a kind of the anti-India sentiment into their mind.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, they are actually causing tremendous damage to my country's sovereignty and independence.
Smriti, what would this mean for India's porous borders? Because we all have enough evidence to be aware of the fact that over 1 million Rohingyas have been raised as Pakistan-backed Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. You're looking at India's eastern front being compromised. What are the challenges ahead for India's Home Ministry?
I think India is going to face severe challenges in terms of infiltration that may happen, that may take advantage of the porous border. There will
And
be
terrorism. Let's not forget the free hand given to radicals who all have links with the ISIS and the Al-Qaeda.
Yes, you probably must not have forgotten the Bardhaman blast, which by chance, because the blast went off, we could see the JMB. Once action is taken against the JMB in Bangladesh side, they are operating on the Indian side. So the porous border, as you said, is one of the biggest challenge. And along with that, the insurgency, Northeast insurgency, which has lied dormant, and Indian government has been negotiating for peace. And so in some of the places, it has been achieved. They have reached a kind of agreement with the insurgent groups. So there will be this tendency, especially Pakistan will encourage and will provide support to insurgent elements operating in the northeast. So there are also some news report regarding Paresh Barua shifting his base from China to Bangladesh. So Bangladesh has always provided as I was speaking of the ecosystem, has provided that kind of environment where this kind of element can very safe, will be given safe haven and will be operating inside India. So it's a kind of, duplicating, as I agree with, all the attempt is being made to make Bangladesh former East Pakistan. Not in terms of, I'm not speaking of sovereignty, I'm not speaking that, but, East Pakistan, it will become the former East Pakistan in terms of sovereignty. It will remain Bangladesh, but it will operate as East Pakistan in terms of the political and strategic ecosystem which Pakistan always wanted to have in East Pakistan.
Okay. Quick closing thoughts, Shoaib. Do you think that the killing of Hadi was manufactured only to drum up anti-India rhetoric, given that diplomacy is already failing? Yesterday, we saw a very sharp attack come in from Dhaka's foreign ministry. They have questioned India's facts and figures, especially when our spokesperson shared that figure of 2,900 documented incidents of violence against minorities. That includes Christians, Buddhists, apart from Hindus. So if the Meghalaya police, if the BSF have already gone on record to dismiss reports that the killers of Hadi crossed over to the borders, why is Dhaka making these claims? And if they do disagree with India's figures when it comes to documented, say, episodes of violence against minorities, come out with your own facts and figures. But there, they've maintained a strategic silence.
Akanksha, we are hearing the voice of Islamabad via Dhaka. And that is what it's saying, that Hadi's killers are in Meghalaya, whatever, Ramu Hills. But in reality, I can say on record that both the killers of Hadi are currently, just now, they are inside the Pakistan High Commission's first floor, which is called Dhaka Cell. They are very much inside road number 71, Gulshan, Dhaka. They are inside the Pakistan High Commission, and they were used and hired by Pakistan High Commission to assassinate Hadi for a political mileage that Pakistan is already getting, and to somehow destabilize the country's situation, and to how to say, never hold any election in this country. So I'm repeating, the killers of Hadi are not in Meghalaya. The killers of Hadi are inside Pakistan High Commission in Dhaka, road number 71, Gulshan. At first floor, there is a cell called Dhaka Cell, and both of them are there. And if Pakistan has the courage, let them deny my claim. I will come up with some strong evidence.
All right. I will await a response coming in from at least Bangladesh's foreign ministry with regards to the claim you've made. It's a very bold, sweeping claim that you're making. Perhaps will also shut all the anti-India voice, the noise, the rhetoric that's coming out from Dhaka. But we'll have to leave it at that since I'm running short of time. Many thanks to you, Smriti Patnaik, and also Shoaib for joining in. Appreciate your unabashed views here as well.
Alokji, please stay on with us as we shift the spotlight towards Bangladesh, and we've just got news coming through here on the right stand. Top intelligence sources have told CNN News 18 that the assassination of Sharif Usman Hadi, the convener of the Inqilab Manch and one of the organizers of the July uprising, was used to mobilize street protests and fuel agitation against Bharat rather than being the result of an ideological rivalry. Now, as per sources, Usman Hadi was no longer aligned with any single political party or political patron. As a spokesperson of the Inqilab Manch, he had criticized the Awami League, challenged the BNP leadership and refused backing from Jamaat, making him politically unpredictable ahead of Bangladesh 2026 election scheduled for February. So sources have told CNN News 18 and Manoj Kumar Gupta getting us these details that Usman Hadi's death helped street mobilization, media intimidation and justification for emergency-style governance. Now, various intel inputs suggest that many political parties had begun viewing the student leader as disruptive by late 2025. The main shooter, identified as Faisal Karim Masood, a former Chhatra League leader, and bike rider Alamgir Sheikh, were clearly involved in the killing. Now, as per sources, Faisal was part of an internal network within Hadi's own ecosystem, indicating political infiltration rather than ideological rivalry. Bangladesh police allege that the suspects fled to Bharat via Meghalaya and have sought their extradition. However, intel sources have said that there was no CCTV footage, border sensor data or telecom evidence to substantiate the claim that the suspects had entered Bharat. The Bharat-linked allegation surfaced after protests and riots had already broken out, raising questions about the timing of this entire narrative. Now, intel sources suggested that the Bharat angle may have been introduced to divert attention and protect possible Jamaat-linked associates. In fact, the BSF has now come back and clearly said that in that entire region, be it Meghalaya, Tripura and the regions, there is no presence of these two on Bharatiya soil. This has been endorsed by the Meghalaya police also, and these details have been put out on News 18. So clearly, Bharat has nothing to do with this. This is an internal job, and it's being done to create this frenzy and this furor so that there is no single political party, and this person who was a variable who could swing either ways is removed, but you are able to cement and you can try stoke the kind of passions and then slowly move the public mood, swing it in a particular way that's convenient for these rabble-rousers under Mohammad Yunus, or perhaps going forward whoever would be on power. But more importantly, the control remains in the hands of the radicals. Alok Bansal, Executive Vice President, India Foundation, with us. Rana Meher, Bangladesh activist, also with us. Rana ji, namaste. Alok ji stays on with us. Your assessment, your understanding, because there are many. Hadi's own brother has turned around and blamed Yunus for the killing and said that you've gotten it done. This entire, shosha or hype about Bharat being involved, now it emerges that the first posts came out of Pakistan about Bharat's involvement on social media.
Sorry, is the question to me?
Yes, Ranaji.
Oh, okay. Hadi is you can say Hadi is a very interesting character. He was portrayed as a hero. He was portrayed as a very open-minded person, but so far we already know he was not like that. And I will contradict a little bit about what you said, that he was not aligned with any political parties. But alignment does not come officially being a political party's member. Alignment comes from ideology as well. And so far, Hadi's ideology is very close to Jamaat-e-Islami and other Islamic radical parties. So that is one thing. And about involvement of India, as you have already mentioned, it is kind of established fact that India, at least from India's side, that Faisal and Alamgir, they were part of Hadi's internal group, and some of the Hadi's fan club, they try to portray they fled to India, but there is no evidence so far. So if we just keep aside India's involvement in it, we can talk about who could be benefited about that young person's Hadi's death. After Hadi's death, you can see the rampage took place in Bangladesh. Two newspapers who, to me, were quite in line with Jamaat-e-Islami and BNP, they were set in fire because they claimed they were serving the purpose of India. two of the biggest cultural group of Bangladesh, Chayanot and Udichi, they were attacked as well as a result of Hadi's murder. And who is taking the result of this? The result is going inside the pocket of the Islamic radicals. So yes, we can check who was involved outside of Bangladesh. We can talk months after India and Pakistan and others, but we need to see what is happening inside Bangladesh and who is being benefited of it. And just to let you know, I'm sure you are aware of it. Yesterday, news came up in Bangladeshi media that one of the foreign policymaker from Afghanistan, Mr. Jawandi, he's in Bangladesh for a couple of days. He's going through several meetings of some very dubious characters, some very prominent Islamic terrorist leaders. So we can, if we want to, at least I will make some connection about Hadi's death, what is happening afterward, and somebody coming from Afghanistan having lots of meeting and sitting with some of this Islamic terrorist leader.
This entire opening it up to radicals and the Islamist groupings, which are perhaps operating in the shadows, and they want a certain level of control. We just have some more information. This is the ISI involvement, because they have already set up offices under Muhammad Yunus, and openly he's been engaging with them. Now, Pakistan's engagement with Bangladesh's interim administration headed by Chief Advisor Muhammad Yunus has also come under sharp scrutiny amidst growing concerns of external interference ahead of the nation's general elections. CNN News 18 has learned from top diplomatic and intelligence sources, and sources telling CNN News 18 that Pakistan has been maintaining continuous contact with the interim regime as well as political groups opposed to former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, prompting concerns over interference in Bangladesh's internal political processes. Watchdog groups and members of diplomatic community in Dhaka are closely monitoring these developments, sources said. Intel reports reviewed by CNN News 18 allege that Pakistan is actively maneuvering Bangladesh's political landscape by extending support to opposition parties, including Khalida Zia's Bangladesh Nationalist Party and Shafiqur Rahman-led Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami ahead of the polls. Now, reports further claim that Pakistan's intelligence agency, the ISI, is suspected of providing covert financial assistance to these groups, allegations that Islamabad has not publicly responded to. Just bringing in Alok Bansalji also, and then Ranaji, I'll come back to you. Now, the involvement of the ISI is open because they have come back into Dhaka, they've met Muhammad Yunus, there are pictures of them sitting and engaging. And also the narratives, the sloganeering that is coming from the streets about Jammu and Kashmir, the fact that Khalistanis turned up in the United Kingdom when Bangladesh Hindus were protesting against what is happening in Bangladesh. So there is an involvement. But more importantly, is there an attempt to try and deny the elections, or to try and ensure that radicals are in control? Because some of the radical clerics from Pakistan have also come along with these colonels, and those details are also out here now. Ji, Alok ji.
See, firstly, we must be very clear. According to me, Hadi was eliminated to create disturbance because there is a certain section of Bangladesh which does not want elections. Please understand, there are sections of Bangladesh political establishment which does not want elections, like Jamaat has never won an election. The students who are claiming everything and anything are sure not to win the elections. If an elections take place without Awami League, BNP is virtually guaranteed a victory. Now, while BNP wants the elections, these people who can never win an election want to continue with this sort of an ad hoc arrangement, and that's why you are seeing this sort of an anarchy that's going on. So that's the first thing. Second, as far as ISI is concerned, right from the time Sheikh Hasina's government was toppled, ISI's involvement has been there. In fact, the toppling itself, it was supported by the US establishment and the Pakistan's ISI. So let there be no doubt that ISI has grown in strength. There have been connections between Pakistan's military establishment trying to reach out to Bangladesh. There have been ISI infiltration within the administration and other sections of the society. So they are obviously trying to pit Bangladesh against India because they don't want an election, because they realize that if elections take place, even if Awami League is not allowed to participate, the government which will come will represent people's will. and Bangladesh's population has a lot in common with India. They depend on India for education, healthcare, and many other things. They share the common culture, linguistic affinity across borders. So, and economic linkages are there. So, if there is an elected government, it will slowly but certainly improve relations with India, which probably ISI doesn't want. Whereas if you have an unelected, ad hoc, illegal government like the present one continuing to rule, it does not have to bother about popular sentiment, and it can do whatever they want to. And they need to continuously whip up emotions against India and take actions which actually take Bangladesh's economy to the nether. So that's what they are doing. The Bangladesh's economy has actually really gone down ever since Sheikh Hasina has been removed. So we are seeing all this, and there is a concerted effort by anti-India forces as well as those forces which have never won an election and know that they will never win an election to now defer these
The point
elections.
is, but the field of play is already cleared because of the fact that Awami League is not allowed to participate. Awami League is banned. So, so will the Chhatra League. So they will not be allowed to participate in the elections. The other thing is that during Sheikh Hasina's time, had there been an alternative political party which would have been there in opposition, the story would have been different in Bangladesh. Perhaps in her wisdom, she would have, on hindsight, that had the BNP been allowed and encouraged to be a strong opposition voice, there would not have been this kind of a turmoil that radicals could call the shots, having an octogenarian sitting there who does not even hold a Bangladeshi passport anymore. He's not even a Bangladesh citizen. He's given up that citizenship. He holds a US and a French passport. It's a travesty what's happening in the neighborhood, but it's happening. Ranaji, how do you see this? Do you see elections happening in February? Or are you worried that what will happen will be nothing but a sham and somewhere the Jamaat will be in control? Or when I say Jamaat and its Tanzeems.
Okay, we can always hope for the best. We can always hope that a fair election will take place and a fair party, fair political party who will think about Bangladesh